Mini after credits, they're short as fuck. Hello! I went and saw McQueen, the documentary directed by Ian Bonnot and Peter Ettedgui, about the British fashion designer Lee Alexander McQueen. This is a guy who rose to prominence in the late 90s, early 2000s, and was known for his wild, brash, offensive, controversial fashion shows that mix some dark, macabre imagery with some beauty. And was he a genius? Was he a maniac? That's kind of, the kind of person you're dealing with. I see a lot of McQueen in somebody like Kanye West, for example. This movie is just kind of a retrospective over his life, his career, and the ultimate downfall, his suicide, I think, in 2010, if I got that correct. I didn't know anything about this guy going in. I just saw the poster, which is a fantastic skull with butterflies and flowers and crazy imagery all over it, and I said, okay, let's go in. Enough to the point where I didn't even know what McQueen looked like. So when he first shows up in the movie, I thought he was a guy that bagged my groceries at Kroger. The beginning of the movie kind of gets you right in, ramped and starting. It's fun. There's a visual graphic that's kind of like a resume showing where he went to school or where he tried to get an internship and become a tailor and then suddenly grow his way into designerhood. And it's a fast-paced movie, a lot of tape, which is really cool. You got to see a lot of video footage, pre-digital stuff, because McQueen's the kind of guy that'll just run around with a camera and videotape him and his friends doing stupid shit. The movie kind of plays with that, and the movie plays with these images to kind of show this sort of DIY punk rock, just fast and loose lifestyle that they all live. There's tons of crazy fashion, counterculture shit, and I like the speed of the movie. I like how kind of choppy and loose that is. And so when you see him start to go from the bottom, getting a little bit more notoriety, it's fun to kind of feel that energy. Now, the problem with that is, and this leads into a couple of problems I have with the movie, the initial story is kind of told in that sort of rise and fall of an artist type arc. So in the middle, when you're kind of dealing mostly with just the minute shifts from him being at the top here and then him moving over to some place like Louis Vuitton. Oh, no, pardon me. It was, I think, Givenchy, and then him moving to Gucci. And if these words mean nothing to you, don't worry. The movie actually explains these pretty well. But when the movie has him kind of at the top of the peak and kind of just moving between studios, and here's a fashion show, and here's a tidbit about his life, and here's a fashion show, that arc is kind of slow. And the douchebag in front of me started getting on Instagram, and if I wasn't in the theater and I was at home, I would have probably done the same thing, kind of perking up for whenever a fashion show popped up. For as much as the movie has talking heads and people talking about McQueen and who he was, I never felt like I got to know the real McQueen. Now, you might say that's because, there's a line in the movie where McQueen says something to the extent of, if you want to know me, look at my art. My response to that is, well, then maybe a documentary isn't the best way to learn about the guy. What's really the star of the show here, like McQueen says himself, are the fashion shows. He took a lot of influence from sort of the jungle and his surroundings, his emotions. You could kind of tell. And this is bookmarked by those little skulls like you see on the poster, where his life would inform the fashion. So if he was interested in reading about serial killers and murderers, then you have something like one of his first collections, which is just macabre and bloody and these red, dark fabrics and bold colors. It's not like McQueen's art really fizzled out towards the later parts of his life. He only got bolder. He only got stranger. There's a fantastic set piece involving robots. You're gonna love robots. There's also one where it's to simulate an asylum, and there's a box inside of boxes with mirrors, and I had a lot of fun as a guy who loves production design, just seeing the kind of production and how these designers found a way to help convey McQueen's message to the public. It's a mixed bag for me, because that part in the middle did drag substantially. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this as a theatrical visit. I'm pretty sure it's difficult for most people who are watching this to see this in theaters. if you're a person who's interested in the fashion world, in artists, in especially provocateurs, guys that go against the grain, guys that have their own way of doing things, people who will risk everything just to bring their one thing to life, I think you'll have some fun with this. This is something where once you get in the middle and kind of realize where the story is going, you can kind of tune out on your phone and just wait till the next fashion show. Those are the scene stealers. Those are the reasons that you're there. I'm not sure if you're a big McQueen fan, if this will do a lot for you. For me, this feels more like a primer on Alexander McQueen, a kind of taste of the man, to see if you're interested in him and his life and his art. And if you're gonna do that, then you can dive deeper with extra material and different ideas. It's not enough to say I like it, but 3.5 out of 6 for me. It's still a positive rating. I'd still say, if you're interested, go for it. So, that was it. Mini after credits. The next big one that we're planning to do here is the Meg. It's kind of been a constipated time here on HalfKocked. We're not really putting out a bunch of stuff, but we have a lot of ideas in the works, so make sure to subscribe to stay tuned and find out when, if ever, we put out another one of these videos. Until next time, I've been Daniel, and this was a mini after credits.